Abdullah, let's start off with a brief background on iFly Air, when it started and its services.
Yeah, sure. iFly Air is a company incorporated in the year 2017. It is a local, initially the way you put it was true that it initially was a travel agency based in Wilson Airport. Last year, we did an integration to upgrade to an airline, of which to be a fully fledged airline. Why? Because our biggest sister companies, which we used to work with, is still we are working with hand in hand with them as a travel agency. But in another line, we are a fully fledged airline, which is still in final compliance with the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, based in Wilson Airport, initially where Silverstone Air used to be. Yeah, in Aerolink building. That's where we do our terminal, which in terms of check-in, passenger boarding, all of it are carried out.
COVID-19 affected iFly Air.
It has affected big time, just like many other operators in the market. Of course, aviation industry was hit hard, global scale. Why? Because immediately the flights were grounded. Flights are economical when they are in the air. Basically, when they're on the ground, of course, it's a burden to us. Why? Because these flights are paid based on the number of flight hours it did. So once it is doing 0 hours and it's on the ground, then of course most of these aircraft are on lease, meaning that the manufacturers or the leasing companies on the foreign states needs to be paid as well. So we are affected big time. Basically, why? Because we were not flying and we were grounded.
Can you tell us how big the revenue loss has been?
Of course, I don't have the numbers at hand, but it is something which covering in terms of a company level from where I sit iFly Air. It will take for some time, like maybe 3 months down the line, for us to catch up with the initial scale where we were. Why? Because we have reduced even the fleets. We used to have daily flights to Malindi Lamu, as an example. We have reduced flying to Malindi Lamu like twice a week and daily flights to Mandera. That will mean that the routes and the segments that we initially had in place to fly daily flights to a certain coastal destination have been brought into halt. Of course, in the same way other operators have put in terms of reducing the number of scale, we are not exempted, that we have reduced the routes that initially we were flying. Basically, mostly the tourist-based routes, because these tourist-based routes are interlinked with international travel, which has not yet assumed.
Has the reduction of routes seen you laying off some of your staff? If so, how many?
Of course, the staffs are across the whole country. In terms of outstation, we have across all counties: Kisumu, Eldoret, Wajir, Mombasa, Lamu. So initially, when this thing was, there were others who were on 50% pay cut. Yeah, others are now, as we speak, they're just resuming back to the operation, but they were also on unpaid leave, just like the last month. Now that they have resumed the flights, then they have started operation normal. But of course, that it becomes an in-house, but there is a reduction on the scale in terms of even the casual workers who used to work behind the scenes. We are also reduced. So it has affected also on our staff on one level of the chain of the transition in terms of the revenue and in terms of the salaries, in terms of all these are intertwined.
All right. So has iFly resumed operations since now? Yesterday was the first day that the domestic flights were given a go-ahead.
Yes, we were given a go-ahead from the directive that local flights were resuming on 15th. That was yesterday. Of course, we had a daily flights to Mandera. Yesterday and today, we had flights going to Mandera. So we have resumed, yes, of course, with the measures in place, we have resumed and in compliance 100%.
And has accessing working capital finance been easy to come by in the wake of the challenges brought about by COVID?
Of course, we can't project right now that things will be okay, but the analyticals we have in terms of the system, the way bookings are coming in, of course, we project, because we can't increase the prices. Why? Because also people, the normal Mwananchi is struggling with the coin on the table. So it means we retain the same standards in terms of the flight ticket, flying destination the way it used to be as cheap as it was. We are a low-cost carrier, meaning that the cheapest flight still will remain the cheap, but also the extra precautions that were put that people to come with their masks. That's also one thing we are insisting, that people are supposed to come with their masks on place, but of course there's no COVID certificate that is required. Also, what we do is the outside of our departures where we are currently. Of course, there's washing your hands and sanitizing. Of course, there's an issue of keeping distance. And of course, there's the issue of onboard. Even the onboard catering, we have been changed. The in-flight packages are now given as a one package. All of the in-flight catering in terms of the biscuit, juice, water in one place as a package. So we have done a lot of precautions in place to avoid, we minimize the transmission of the disease.
And even as you try to rebound your business, do you see the cost of air travel likely to go up?
The cost of travel will not go up anytime soon. Why? Because we are not only checking about the operating cost of this whole segment of the flight. We are also interested of how is the pocket of the people who are traveling. They are not well. Just like me and you, everybody is struggling with the normal sustainer. So we will just maintain the initial low-cost flight, and also what we will also do is flights are not full board. When the flight is full board is when it will generate itself. So instead of increasing the prices in terms of increasing the airfare, what we will do is we reduce the fare, and then so that everybody can fly and we get full board on the flight.
Lastly, Abdullahi, what sort of interventions do you need to keep your business afloat?
Of course, most of the companies, most of the other countries where most of the airlines were given bailouts by their own government, of course, we request, or the same way directives were made, that these charges in terms of the Kenya Airport Authority parking fee, landing fee is supposed to be reduced, and the navigational fee, which we are paying to the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, also needed to be reduced. So there's a government intervention in regards to reduction of the whole operating cost. Maybe also, of course, the fuel prices were down as we speak. Of course, maybe changing coming soon. But the way we can do is do a public awareness that the flight is the safest way, and as it was initially the safest way to travel. So we insist to the public that they should have confidence on travel and resume, just to do the compliance with the way the directives are given about the 4 principles of washing hands, sanitizing, keeping distance. Once that is retained, then the industry will come back to its choice.
Right, thank you very much, Abdullahi. That brings us to the end of this interview. Thank you for giving us your time.